All right. Well, welcome back, all. Thank you for hanging with us. We are now wrapping up the month of June, and what a month it has been. As you can see, I still have my Juneteenth hair from yesterday. A phenomenal event that happened here locally in Indianapolis with the mayor coming out and the congressman. We had lots of fun, met a ton of people. A plethora of small business owners. We just had a great time. So as a result, first off, please let me know that you were here. Again, StreamYard won't let us be great, so I can't really see if you're here, and so you'll have to leave a comment. So please leave a comment. Let us know you're here, and also to wrap up Juneteenth, head over to Amazon because I want you to get a copy of Dents in the Ceiling: Tools Women and Allies Need to Break Through, because much of what I am expounding on and talking about here throughout 2022 is summarized in the book. So if you like what we're saying, if you like the topics, want to learn more and dive deeper, please pick up a copy. It's on sale for Juneteenth at Amazon, and it's available on Kindle. All right. So with that, we are going to pick up where we left off 2 weeks ago, where we were talking about how to get help, how to unpack some of the corporate trauma, emotional attacks, mental health, right? If you're experiencing an extreme amount of stress at work, there is help out there. So we've already talked about some personal ways where you can see a professional counselor or therapist or psychologist. If group therapy, we also discussed. And here today, we are going to talk about professional executive coaching. So this is a little more geared towards your profession. And if you are dissatisfied with your career progression, or you just simply want to get to the next level, I definitely, again, recommend help. Don't go it alone, because that's just a little bit too much to carry. Get some help, and executive coaching might be the way to go. So with that, we have Don Neault joining us. Welcome, Don. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Angel.
Absolutely. So Don, you are a professional leadership coach. Can you please tell us exactly what it is that you do, how you help your clients, and what drove you to the profession?
Yeah, I think that start with what drove me to this profession. It was really, an awakening for me, frankly. It was a bunch of people that helped me understand that that's the value that I brought to them during my career. And, it was one of those things that I planned to do, except for the fact that I think intrinsic in who I am is trying to help people achieve their greatest potential. And I think that just came out. And so as I was thinking about my next chapter, one of the things that, as a result of the recognition that they had given me, I started on my journey of getting the education I needed to understand the how of executive coaching, and then moving along and getting my credential from the International Coaching Federation.
Awesome.
So that's how I got started.
Okay.
And I can tell you that it went from being my passion to being my purpose.
Wow.
It's why I'm convinced that this is why I'm here, is to help people really uncover how do they achieve their greatest potential.
Oh, I love that. Wow, it went from your passion to your purpose. Okay, that says a lot. All right, so help us, for those that are not familiar with an executive coach, because I'll be honest, Don, when I first heard about it, it was for our executive leadership team. It was for the C-suite and the VPs of the company, and the organization was paying for them to get an executive coach. Some had their own personal one, some shared a coach. And I thought to myself, I need one of those. But I was just a manager, not just but I was a manager. I was several, rungs down the ladder from getting one. And I thought to myself, well, I'll just go, I'll get one myself. And I researched, and it was quite a bit of a price tag per hour. And so I kind of backed off and thought, okay, well, I'll just wait, Now, in hindsight, I would go tell that angel, don't wait. But for those that are in that spot right now that are thinking, okay, angel, I hear you, I'll look into it. And then they go look into it and they think, oh, I don't know if it's worth it. What value, what would you tell that individual?
I think that, oftentimes we use the terms mentor and coach pretty interchangeably. And
Okay.
there's really a big difference
Okay.
between both of those. The mentor is the person that you seek out to get their advice, to leverage their experience, maybe to help you shortcut from where you are to where you're trying to get to,
Mm-hmm.
either from a skill perspective or from a capability perspective, or even just position. The coach, however, is a little bit different. The coach believes that the answer is already inside of us, and
Oh,
their goal is to ask questions and
okay.
to help clear the fog so that you can see the answer that you already know. It's just that you just haven't, you've got things that are in the way. And so, to a great extent, when you think about us going through our careers, yeah, there's a bunch of skill based things that we need to do.
Yes.
There's a bunch of knowledge gathering things that we need to do. And some of that can come from formal training, some of that can come from mentors.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's the things that we're born with, the
Mm.
things that we are as individuals that sometimes we don't bring to the surface. And sometimes we don't give them the power of the voice that they should have. And that's what an executive coach can help you do. It can help you really uncover that and really be able to try to bring that to the surface so that you can figure out the path that's best for you. And I
Absolutely.
think that that's part of the value that executive coaching brings.
Wow, awesome. Well, for those of you, full disclosure, I'm a testament of not only coaching but of the work that Don does. I know him and I, when we started working, I was thinking to myself, how do I take this agile game to the next level, and really focused on, from a technical perspective, what I brought to the table. And back to what you said, Don, the knowledge that I had amassed over the years, how was I going to package that and serve like the my community, my team, et cetera, et cetera. And really, as we worked together and kind of cleared the fog and dove really deep, it was really a few layers down that it's like, no, it's really inclusion work. When you think about, when Angel, you talk about putting together high performing, high value creative teams, you're really talking about bringing diverse people together and how they all feel included and can work really cool together. And it's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's the real work that I do. That's my passion. That's the
Yep.
jazz.
Yep.
So it's the clearing of the layers, and I absolutely love that. So again, cannot recommend finding someone who you can work with who can help you do that. And also, too, I'm thinking, Don, when we talked to Vonda Page a couple weeks ago, she mentioned the importance of whatever provider that you're working with, be it a coach, a psychologist, a therapist, a counselor, a group facilitator, whoever it is that you are getting professional services from. She recommended that that person has cultural competency training and or experience, and how important that is to women and to women of color to connect with someone who has that training. So Don, help us understand how you are bridging the gap with your clients who are of a different gender, age, or race or cultural background than yourself.
That's a great question, and I think remind me before we leave. There's something that people should do before
Okay.
engaging a coach.
Okay. Okay.
But let me answer your question first. So this all started for me in terms of recognizing um, the disadvantage, or how women, not the disadvantage of women, but how women have been disadvantaged in the workplace. And the example was really my wife. We're both in professional fields, and yet I was making progress. She was
Mm,
running into things that I'm not running into,
okay.
and we would have those conversations. Conversations like, she reported into, she was a radiological health physicist. Think nuclear power, right?
Yes, that
Reporting
sounds
to
like a
work on the
lot
first,
of degrees and a lot of
yeah,
education and a lot of
yeah,
experience.
reporting to work the first day and being asked by her new boss if she typed,
Oh.
um, and not creating a connection between the individual and the power that they brought and the education that they had and the knowledge that they would bring,
Yeah.
and just thinking about it through an aged lens, if you will, right? Because he was older, and
Mm-hmm.
that stuff happens, right? But that
Yep.
was the awakening for me and
Okay.
started me thinking about what is it that I can do to ally with people that are disadvantaged.
Okay.
And so it's, for me, it started with women. It very quickly moved to African American and Black people. Um, um, but it's not only that, as you know, some of the people that I'm engaged with. But it was really one of those things that really just said, okay, so how do I bring my privilege? How do I bring my experience, my being in rooms that people are not, bring that knowledge to them to help them get further ahead. So we talked a little bit earlier on about mentor and coach. And I
Mm-hmm.
think, what I'm talking about here is a little bit of a combination of both, because to some extent, I want to figure out, what does the person understand and know and believe? That's the coach part of me. But the
Okay.
mentor part of me is sharing the experience and the knowledge that I have
Gotcha.
that they can then use to their advantage, right? And when you bring those two things together, I think you got a really powerful combination.
Absolutely, absolutely, you do.
Yeah,
Awesome. Okay, well, before we leave, so obviously I'm going to put your contact information down below
yeah,
when we wrap. But did you want to share with the audience in terms
yeah,
of maybe something that they want to do to prepare themselves if they are
yeah,
seriously thinking about engaging in coaching?
yeah. Two things. So one,
Okay.
when you're thinking about engaging a coach, have what we call a chemistry call. It's really important that you interview the person that you're thinking about taking on as a coach, and making sure that it's going to work both ways, right?
Okay.
So we call that a chemistry call, right?
I love it.
Um, Second thing is as you're thinking about your career, I would advise you to kind of do this little exercise, which is not insignificant and is going to take some time and some challenge.
Okay.
But take um, take a piece of paper or electronic paper, I don't care what, but write it down, get it down, and think about your needs, your wants, and your nice to have. And think about the categories. Like, so for instance, if you're thinking about changing jobs, a nice, easy one to think about is compensation. What do you
Right.
need for compensation? What do you want for compensation? And what would be
Ah,
nice to have for
okay.
compensation?
Okay.
And think about the components of compensation too. But the real important stuff, where the meat comes in, is when you
Hmm.
start thinking about the content. What is it that I want to be doing? Not necessarily I want to lead an IT organization. It could be I want leadership. I want to find myself in a position of leadership. I want to be engaging with individuals and helping them achieve their greatest potential. Whatever that content is, that will help you get your mind straight as you're trying to figure out, what is my career progression, or if I'm interviewing,
Yeah.
how do I look at a job description and match it up against my matrix
Yeah.
so I can make informed decision about what's my path forward.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you, Don, so much for your time and your insight. I really appreciate it. Again, to all, don't do what I did. Don't wait. I needed Don in my back pocket, like, 4 years ago, but that's okay.
It
um,
worked. God had
um,
a plan for you.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yes, it's all in the timing. So, thank you again, Don, for your time. I really appreciate it. For those of you that have questions for either of us or want to continue the conversation for your organization or for you personally, please don't hesitate to reach out. We would love to help. And thank you again for your time. All right, take care, all. Bye bye.